Hey all, it's 6:40 a.m. today on March 29th, 2017. My name's CyberOwlLive. I wanted to touch upon a couple of things that are happening within the esports scene that, at least for me, I don't really find justifiable. I'm a caster. I'm not one of the well-known casters. I'm not saying like I'm the next Monte Cristo. I'm not the next Doa, Medic Cast, or Ex Scoundrel. Nothing like that. Um, but I'm a freelance caster here in New York, specifically Brooklyn, and it's something that I've done for about 6 years now. Actually, I always tell people 5 years, but it's actually just hit the 6 year mark. Uh, so having just hit 6 years, uh, it's a tough scene. It is a tough scene. There's a lot of backstage politicking involved in the esports scene, unfortunately, and it sucks. It sucks. It makes it very hard to want to stay involved. It makes it really hard to want to consistently put something out there where you're putting in 110% and then you're getting that 10% back as a return rather than just as much as you're putting in. And granted, that's just work in general. That's usually what happens, but with something like casting is so important, and a lot of people are taking us for granted, to be honest. Say smaller esports organizations. They tend to not pay casters all that well, if at all. Why? A lot of people view casters as like, oh, anybody could get in front of a mic, talk, and if they just know 5% about the game, they can do it. To a certain extent, they're right. But a good caster is worth their weight in gold, not in salt. That's different. For me personally, League of Legends, Vainglory, For Honor, these are games that I've put time and effort into. That way I can be able to cast them exquisitely. So, with that in mind, it's like, okay, I get where people are coming from regarding casters that are like, oh, we played the game for 10 minutes and yeah, no problem, we gotcha. I understand that. I know there's a lot of people that do that. A lot of casters claim that they can do anything in a goddamn heartbeat, but that's just not the case. If you want a good caster at the very least, the bare minimum, what they will do is for a whole week in preparation for a cast, play nothing but the game that they're going to cast. That's what I do. For the events that I've been doing at the flagship Microsoft store on Fifth Avenue, or for the events that I'm doing for just about anybody, I will learn a game. If it's a new game, I'll make sure I get my hands on it. I practice it. That way I can, cast it efficiently. That way, maybe down the line, I cast it more and more and more and more and move on to bigger things regarding the game. I'd like that. And a lot of people aren't willing to give casters that benefit of the doubt. And it makes it really hard to maintain this lifestyle. Casting in its essence is something that's completely based on the individual. It's not something that could really be generalized on, because it's a personality. It's the energy that somebody puts into it. It's how articulate they are. It's how well versed they are as far as their vocabulary is concerned. If they're able to be super colorful, or if they're going to be super dull. Are they going to be super analytical, or they're going to be super energetic? Everybody has their own style. Everybody has their niche. Everybody has their own different casting methods. For me, I tend to be a little bit analytical, but with a lot of high octane energy, which is cool. I tend to speak a little bit too fast at times, but I do end up reining it back a little to explain what I had said when I was speaking extremely fast. That way, anybody who missed what I said would be able to at least be able to keep up with me after the fact. And I'll say this, after 6 years of being in the casting community, it's it's like being in a talent pool, but the talent pool is segregated, if that makes any sense. And it shouldn't be like that. I feel like good casters and casters willing to put in the time and effort should at least be given opportunity. And that tends to be forgotten a lot of the time. One thing that I've noticed in my time casting is that because of the way I look, they usually just think, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I proceed to cast For Honor and show them exactly that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, for the For Honor event, they pulled me when I was going to play on a team participating in the tournament so that I can cast it. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? I played the game enough. I was confident. I wasn't expecting it. I was wearing a black t-shirt and jeans, but I was like, hey, give me a blazer and I'll do it. And I'll do it. And I did it. And it was great. No, excuse me. But one thing that needs to change with that segregation, which I didn't really explain it yet, it's more like, okay, you have these specific casters that have made it to the top. More credit to them. They made it. Cool. Casters have to support casters. It's just how it should be. But those casters shouldn't be the only people that get realized for work. And the only people that get realized for work shouldn't be the top of the top pro players that have the money to throw away to fly out to different events. Because a lot of casters, after becoming pro players, they switch over to becoming casting. Looking at Crepo, look at Deficio, a bunch of the fighting game scene is a lot like that as well. Looking at the smaller tier casters, it's you'd be surprised how much opportunity would not only mean for the caster, but how impressive it would look for you to be harboring new caster talent. That's the biggest thing. Caster talent is so undervalued. Unless you made it to the big time, unless you have numbers out the wazoo, caster talent are very, very much undervalued. It's unfortunate, but it is true. There is no set standard yet. And I don't think that's going to exist for some time because casting is a very opinionated and personality-based job that a lot of the time it really depends on the game and what the people that are hiring you feel that you are worth, and that's basically going to be the biggest hindrance as far as creating like a caster union or a very generalized caster contract that would have to set minimum amount that they have to get paid per event or per hour or per gig or whatever the case may be. And that definitely needs to change. 2017 is really just starting, and esports is really, really picking up. If we're able to go ahead and legitimize not only esports in general, because everybody's talking about, hey, let's legitimize esports. Let's make esports a new sport. I agree. But let's legitimize the jobs in esports first. We can't legitimize esports before we can make it so that jobs are consistent, they pay enough that you can pay your bills, and it has enough support that if somebody chooses to work in this industry, they're not going to have to feel like they're crawling over broken glass and have to work 3 or 4 jobs to be able to want to participate in the scene. I've been doing that for a while, and honestly, it blows. It really does. And I feel like if it ever gets to a point where it's not a contract job, but like a salaried job, like a developer hires you. I want you to cast 64 times in the year. decent amount of casting. It's about a sixth of the year, something like that, give or take. A seventh of the year, really. Anyway, I want you to cast 64 times a year, and per cast, it's gonna be $500. That's not great. That's not. It's a decent amount of casting, and that's a decent amount of money. Like, don't get me wrong at all on that one. But it also depends on how it is spaced. And I think a lot of people forget that. You want people to be able to say, oh, I'm paying you though. Yeah, it's once a month, but you're getting paid. What about all the bills in between that month? What about the food we have to eat? See what I mean? And this is why most casters work other jobs. It's me. 1 second. Whew. A little sick. But yeah, this is why most casters work 2-3 jobs, honestly. And then on top of that, they're still casting. It's almost impossible to maintain this lifestyle. Almost. A lot of people do it. A few that come to mind are like Four-Core Jester, Humanist, people like that. And I have a lot of respect for them. But it really needs to get to a point where if we're going to be having people that are working in esports and companies are going to be throwing money at casters, it has to be enough money to warrant them being able to spend time away from their families, their friends, to be able to go to these events and then go back home after these events are done and be able to be comfortable. That's the thing. We need to be able to say, okay, I sacrifice my time to go to these events. I can pay my rent, I can pay my bills, and I'm okay until the next time I have to cast. I won't have to worry. I won't have to stress. I'll be able to focus 110% on my passion. And it's not like that right now. And it's not going to be like that for a while. And it sucks. But that's the reality of the situation. And a lot of people that are wanting to get involved in esports don't realize that. You guys gotta realize something real quick. If you're going to be expecting esports to flourish, you have to make sure the jobs will flourish too. And I'm not talking about for the bigwigs that are starting businesses. I'm talking about for the people that are working hard, making their way up. Not the players, not the managers, not the coaches. These are the people that are directly involved with the teams. I'm talking about the people directly involved with production. I'm not talking about treating them like interns or not paying them until they prove their worth. Pay them. Give them a reason to want to put 110%, because right now 99.9% of companies, I will say, I don't think they would put 100, like, give as much as they're being given. Yeah, it's the nature of business. It's a risky venture to be just trusting on somebody to do their job well. But even after they have a proven track record, you have to take care of your talent. That goes for any industry. The moment your talent stops getting taken care of, why would the talent care? And then the question arises, is talent just simply as replaceable as, oh, you don't like how we're treating you? Alright, we'll find somebody to fucking replace you then. At the end of the day, that really is the case for just about anybody, really. So I feel like my main point is we need to figure out as people in esports, people in the gaming scene, we need to figure out a way to really, really make it so that esports is worth it. Because it's not. There's money in it, sure. There's money in it if you're a player, or if you're an investor, or if you're a coach. If you're involved in production, not so much. So, I don't know. Leave comments and see if maybe we could figure out something. And start pushing forward for some unique ideas. You never know who'll be listening. I definitely will be posting a whole bunch of my ideas, and over the coming weeks I'm going to be doing a lot more of these videos discussing some topics regarding esports and the gaming scene that really do need to be looked at and worked on. So, I'm CyberOwlLive. This is the first time you guys are seeing me on this channel, ironically, even though it is my channel. But I will be posting a lot more, especially now more than ever. This will be my first of many videos regarding these different gaming topics, and you can follow me at CyberOwlLive on Twitter. You can add me on Steam at CyberOwlLive as well. Or you can add me on beam.pro/CyberOwlLive. Give me that follow if you guys want to see me stream. I'll be streaming every day except for Sunday. We're still working out a time frame that works for everybody, especially for me since my sleep schedule isn't all that great right now. So I'm most likely going to be streaming towards the early to mid-afternoon. And there are going to be some days where I'm streaming by myself and some days where I'm streaming with the group. So feel free to go ahead and tune in there. There's going to be links in the description below for everything that I'm telling you, as well as a couple of links to some different videos that I'm going to implore that you guys at least give a look at. We recently did a memorial video for Daniel Solis, who recently passed away tragically in a car accident. So we did a Minecraft chapel for him because he really liked Minecraft. And we were doing it in support of the family, and the family did reach their monetary goal, but we would still like to at least spread the word of love that they wanted to put forward and that we put forward on their behalf. So if anybody wants to go ahead and check that out, that link will also be in the description. It's also in one of the most recent uploads on the channel. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out my $1 review series, my buddy Tristan is the one who's constantly posting on it. And he's the one that's gonna be the $1 review guy. I basically give him a game that I got for $1, and he plays it, reviews it, tells me he hates me after the fact. While he's busy editing that video, he's just telling me, "Fuck you, Mega. I don't know why you made me play this. I feel so dead inside." He's a great guy, and I think it'd be awesome to really have that pick up, you know. Alright, so thank you guys again for watching. I'm CyberOwlLive, and I will see you guys in the coming days.